Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV with a press conference. Eddie Howe is back after weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of being gone with pneumonia. Now the manager is back to answer all questions. I'm sure
I'm sure
15 out of 20 questions will be about his pneumonia,
exactly.
and 5 will be about 4 about what he's going to do after retirement, and 1 after the game. About the game. So anyway, hopefully it's not, but I'm assuming it will be. And it should be started in about 20 minutes or so. So we got a bit of a 20-minute build up as to what's going to happen. So it is what it is. But good morning, Wayne. How you doing?
I'm doing okay, mate. Early morning again for you. Stupid
It
o'clock in the
is.
morning and over in Missouri.
It is. It is. It
That's
is. But
That's commitment for
I
you.
miss I missed last night though. So it's all good. It's all good.
Uh,
Um, good show yesterday. So good preview.
just as usual, the website isn't showing anything yet.
No, I'm
But
assuming that's
but what it is showing is the artist's impressions of the new training ground,
yeah.
which
Well, one thing is definitely showing is that the Chelsea match has
yep,
been removed, or not removed, but rescheduled into a different time.
from Saturday to Sunday, 12 o'clock. And that doesn't augur well for me because, I mean, the crowd is just never up for it at 12 o'clock in the afternoon,
Yeah,
regardless of what anybody says.
I don't like Sunday games either, but I don't actually.
No,
I
no.
more than likely won't be able to be a part of that one, so we'll have to sort something out. But yep, it's just but it is what it is. So we're gonna have to turn up, whether we like it or not. We said that if we win our home games, we should be able to be okay. And
The Premier League, as usual, trying to prevent it being an advantage for us. Because we do okay at 12 o'clock away games. It's 12 o'clock home games where we struggle. Where
well, the players shouldn't care about that. It's 12 o'clock here or anywhere.
No, the players shouldn't, but I'm talking about the crowd. Now, when we're
Yeah, but
away, you've still got the away support, which has been
yeah,
on the drink all day, getting to wherever they're going. But the home support isn't as fired up.
yeah. Well, you know me about that stuff. I don't really. I mean, obviously,
Well,
play.
I'm telling you, it makes a difference to the crowd. You can
I'm
feel it.
telling you, playing at home is better than limited. If 5,000 away fans are not as loud as 52,000 asleep fans, or somewhat asleep fans.
No, but bear in mind, it's
So
5,000 asleep fans
no,
away from home.
yeah,
And you'd be surprised because I'm sure every other club is the same as us. Their crowds will not be as fired up for it, but our away support is.
yeah, but I mean, you've said this before, which I agree. But to argue with me that there's a reason why the stat says that home is better than away.
Yeah, home's
Home
definitely
teams
better
don't
than away.
usually. So I mean, in this case,
All I'm saying is the
I
advantage.
don't disagree with you to a certain.
The advantage is diminished because the crowd are not going to be the 12th man necessarily that they usually are.
Well, let me tell you something. The 12th man need the 11th man to do something first before the 12th man awakens. So they need the players need to wake up and smell the coffee that day anyway. But listen, I mean, I agree with you actually
Talking about
that
smelling the coffee, I made some lovely fresh ground coffee this morning.
there you go. I need to make some myself. I should have actually, but I wake up just barely, so I can't make it.
That's something else I love about going to the states, which is that uh, you you never use instant coffee at all.
Well, some people do. Some people do. I would say, I mean, a lot of people do. Actually, to
Do
be
they?
fair.
Oh
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, actually,
Well,
some people that don't. I think people that are privileged don't use instant coffee because those machines are more expensive. The ones that ground coffee automatically. I do actually. I do got a coffee machine that grinds coffee immediately. So I would say I'm fortunate. But yeah, but I need to buy the coffee beans, which I haven't in a long, long time. So I used to drink just plain black coffee, no sugar, no nothing, and that's the best, healthiest coffee ever for you.
Well,
Uh, s-
I drink black, but gotta have the sugar in, man. The holy trinity of the diet: salt, sugar, and fat.
uh,
If you haven't got one of them, and it's not worth eating.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you get used to it. You get used to it, but it's good, man. Good for your digestive system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Eh,
and believe it or not, the last packet I was going to show you the packet, and we never got round to it. Peruvian, I bought Peruvian coffee beans.
Peruvian, yeah, I've definitely tried those. I've seen Peruvian Arabic coffee. I don't know how that works, but yeah, I've seen that name before.
Yeah.
Good morning, Gary.
Good morning, all.
Good
Hope
morning.
you all well.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I could be the only person in history that can be up at 5:30 this morning and still be late for the presser.
Yeah,
By the time I get bloody kids organised and get the missus off to work and do all the bits and pieces, can't wait for them to go back to school. Oh, the sun's shining on me. Look at that. I feel a ray of sunshine this morning.
oh yeah.
The sun has got his hat on. Hip,
Yeah,
hip,
it's
hip,
beautiful.
hooray.
It is certainly beautiful in England today. I don't know what it's like everywhere else, but I mean,
No,
it is.
it's dull and overcast here.
Right.
Yeah.
But
All right,
anyway,
folks.
enough of our weather.
Yeah, exactly.
bulletin.
Here we do.
Hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Become a member if you can. It helps us out. You can super chat, super sticker, gift memberships away. Do all of that. Participate. Become a member yourself if you're not. It helps us a lot, and you grow the channel. So, two coin of phrases, Eddie or Jason today. It's Eddie Howe. No worries. They announced that he's gonna be back, and so it's gonna be Eddie Howe.
Yeah. I think it'll stop all the goss as well. I mean, I think that's the thing. It puts a bit of a lid on all the rumours, all the crap that goes around about illnesses and how poorly and everything else. He comes out and he talks to the press, and then it just puts a lid on everything else.
Yeah.
Back to normal.
Yep. I agree. We should be getting them in about 13 minutes. What can we expect? The Ipswich game is going to be, an accessible match. We still got to go out there and perform. If we don't turn up for it, then obviously we're going to have an issue, as we would anyway, if we don't turn up for games. But I would assume it's going to happen since we're going to be playing at home. I don't know.
I agree with what Alan's just said in there. I think the crowd, every home game now, they have to make it the fortress, as it once was. I mean, it doesn't seem to be that way anymore. Like, we've seen previously, we're as good away these days as we are at home. And it's a nice balance to have. But if we can do as we've done in past and make St James's Park the fortress, and not guarantee, you can't guarantee a win in any platform, but it does put you up there in the hierarchy.
When is this? You sent me this?
Well, currently on the website, while we're waiting for the presser coming up, they're just showing the new training ground extension plan submitted. But that's what it's like now. So you can see where the new training holes are going up on the left-hand side there.
Okay. That little rectangle.
Yeah, on the left, the building site.
Oh, okay, here. So what? They're gonna take that parking lot out?
Yeah. Well, if you put the fourth item on the website, shows you the plans that have been submitted with the big two new. Well, it'll be one actually with a double roof.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I was just putting it through. You could have showed the comparison between the two.
Okay. Well, they're gonna rebuild it. They're gonna make something. They're gonna make it bigger. So,
It's like I said, it's not to step backwards, is it? It's to keep moving forward. Even if the plans are to relocate, they've still got to keep Whitley Park up to the grade, for everything else. So we are still behind some of the top boys at the minute.
Well behind.
As much as as much of an investment they've put in up there, it's still way behind some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We're gonna have to get some things though. We can't just be taking our time. We gotta, especially that stuff that doesn't really affect. PSR doesn't affect it. You just all you need to do is have money, and we certainly have it. We need to be able to just do it. Other than, I don't think there's any issues here as far as building. I think it was just about making the decision.
I think a lot of, listen, it's like everything else in the UK. Building regs, shouldn't be an issue, but they sometimes can be if you're taking up more space than required. So sometimes you do have to go through a little bit of red tape. And the other thing is, whatever money they put in, it has to be fit for purpose. And I think there's no point in just building something that's just going to sit dormant. It has to be, to fit what is required. So, whether
Functional.
whether it's a cryo room. I know they've already got a small room, and it's obviously done us proud because whatever Bunsey's bought in this season, our injuries have been to a minimum, and you've got to give credit where credit's due. And I think, like I say, the gym looks good. Everybody seems to be doing the right thing at Newcastle. But I do think on the recovery side of things, I think we're still a bit outdated. So it'd be interesting to see if they can put something in there for the medical team.
And 95% out of 621 people say that we're going to beat Ipswich. Just reminding people that 3% say Ipswich will win, 2% a draw. And let me see some predictions that we may have missed or not. From Niall Powell says 4-0.
Oh, right.
And Trolls 5-0. Newcastle antagonizing Geordie 4-1. So
5-0.
Make sure we write them down.
Antagonizing Geordie 4-1. Did you say?
Yep. And Niall Powell 4-0.
Niall Powell 4-0. There we go. That's nearly a full house apart from RG Fox and your good self, sir.
I'm going to go with 4-0 for now. I'm going to go 3-0. 3-0. No, 4-0. It's okay.
4-0, yeah?
Yep. Hit the like button. We got over 123 people watching. We're waiting for Eddie Howe in just moments away from Eddie Howe making a comeback into the presser box. And
Andy Bell, still haven't got Andy Bells.
Yeah. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, everyone. And let me see. Steve has a statement here. How many home games have we lost with a 12:30 kickoff win? I can find one. Hardly a bad record. So there you go. I think we lost the one that I was there with Bournemouth, and that was a bad performance. You can say 12 p.m. kickoff all you want to, but Bournemouth play better and we play bad. So, and trust me, if there is a team in the world that depends on the crowd like you depend on diapers, win. To that extent, to that extreme, where if the crowd doesn't turn up, you lose, that team needs to be sacked from earth immediately. So I don't believe in that nonsense. I believe that it can help, but it's not the end all be all.
We've had this discussion before.
No.
A
crowd is good.
Statistics prove.
Okay, then we're playing at home then, so we should win.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that the advantage is diminished with the 12 o'clock.
No, diminish is a word that you should be. It might be lower. It might be lower than most. We're just going to, I don't know, start drinking earlier or just do a little extra. But diminished, it's just, you got to choose your words wisely, man.
I've chosen them very wisely.
Nah, I don't think that just playing at 12:30 makes
Well,
this.
I put it this way: I know I'm not up for it at 12 o'clock. Like I am.
That's
at
fine, but the players
3
get
o'clock or
paid for
4
this.
o'clock.
So the players they get paid for it. So they're gonna have to wake up and get it done. You know, it can't be an excuse. If we lose to Chelsea 5-0, it's not gonna be it sucks because they changed the time. No, that can't not be an excuse.
Right, okay, we'll agree to differ.
Well, I'm just saying, man. You know, I guess you'll be blaming the time if we lose 5-0
What
when
I'm
you should be
saying
blaming
is
somebody else.
The 12 o'clock kickoff isn't helping us. Put it like that.
I think it's inconvenient for fans to get up early and do all that. I agree with you, but I don't think it's something that you know that's so black and white. Steve says Man City 1-1. That's one of our first great performances. Spurs,
Kevin Bell, Forest last year on Boxing Day.
Arsenal
Bournemouth.
Arsenal 1-0. Actually, that's a good one. We play really good. Exactly. David Knight, diminish is a big word for 9:30 in the morning. Very strong from when. Exactly, man. It's too early, man. It's 3:26 in the morning right now here. Like, come on, man. My brain is just starting to connect right now. And he's diminished. Fucking hell, man.
Steve saying 2-1 Spurs. Very lucky 2-1 that was.
Spurs.
Yeah, the last Spurs game. 2-1.
Was that
They could have
over
been
there?
3 up before we scored.
Yep. No, listen, Tuco and the Fresh, he's right. It's alcohol related. Of course it is. But the players can't use that as an excuse. I mean, you can say, yeah, that's the reason why.
I'm not saying the players would use it as an excuse.
Okay, then, well, they're the ones that are going to have to play. You know? That's what I'm saying, man. I haven't.
How many times have we said that the players feed off the crowd and the crowd feed off the
Sure.
players?
But that's a normal thing, sure. But, I mean, it's not, in my opinion, as great as the crowd can be, at the end all be all. It's not.
Well, okay.
Okay, well, we shall see.
There's a good one article. I mean, this was done in March 22, so I mean it's a little outdated. Duncan Alexander had done something regarding the kickoffs, and it says, "Have you ever chosen to watch a Premier League game purely because of the time slot it's been allocated, not because it's say Monday night or you have nothing else to do or watch, but because deep down you know in the heart of certain television decreed kickoff times actually produce certain types of games. Nothing happens in the early game on Saturday, Lamont, without hard evidence. It's vibes-based approach to enjoying the Premier League, but do the numbers back it up? Let's investigate. Now, if anybody goes out there, have a look at it, because like I say, it does. There is. I mean, people out there. It's the Opta analyst. If you're going to have a look at it, you can type it in and Google it. Read it for yourself. It's a good article.
If you, I don't know why now. Eddie Howe's pressers has been moved, according to the website, and I'm trying to refresh, and it's not refreshing. It says it looks like that page doesn't exist.
Oh, it was like that last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it
then all of a sudden it just jumps on board.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Now it's good. Now it's back. I like Kevin Bell. Players shouldn't need the fans to have alcohol in them to win a football match. Exactly, 100%. Jack Carter, the 4-3 versus West Ham was an early kickoff with the Barnes double.
Again, was started absolutely abysmally.
Well,
come on, man.
Well, 3-1 down.
I'm sure there were football reasons for that. Not fans not having alcohol in it.
Well, no, it says here that Saturday early games always make it a slow start for football teams.
Yeah, well, I mean,
because they just don't get going. You know, again, it's about preparation before the game. Sometimes, it can upset the type of time that you're having food, things like that.
Anyway, Eddie Howe, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back.
Excuse me if I cough. Nice to see you. No, I'm not contagious. I'm good. Morning. Thank you. Morning, lads. Morning. Good to see you too.
Hello, Lee, as well.
Thanks, Luke. Hello, how are you?
You got ignored a bit there, didn't you?
That's all right. Used to it. Morning, everyone. Welcome back to our press conference ahead of the game with Ipswich tomorrow. Usual order, back to normal today. We'll start with Razor, please.
Eddie, good morning. Nice to see you. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm not 100% in my body, but I'd like to think I'm very close to 100% in my mind, which is the most important thing. So yeah, I'm well enough to face you guys today.
What have the last couple of weeks been like for you?
Yeah, difficult. I try to take a positive from every experience. I think that's really important. You try to do that, but this has been a real challenge because your health you take for granted. I certainly have. And then when you don't have the luxury of feeling normal, it can be very difficult. So yeah, certainly been through a range of emotions. But thankfully, I feel like I'm on the road to recovery, which is the most important thing. And yeah, I'm delighted to be here.
I remember last week when the club announced that you were receiving treatment for pneumonia, you thanked supporters for all their nice messages, but also the NHS staff for the care you've been receiving. And I'm sure that's something you'll want to do again.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think the care that I received from the NHS was absolutely first class. A big thank you to Charlotte Milne and all her staff who looked after me. I can't thank them enough. They were absolutely brilliant. Just the care and you know the love that I felt from them, and of course, yes, the well wishes and the text messages I received from everybody. I've tried to get around to reply to everybody. It does take a while. But certainly there'll be a lot of supporters and everyone connected with Newcastle that have reached out, and I really do appreciate it, and I'm very thankful.
How much involvement with the football and helping your coaches and the players have you been able to have prior to coming back earlier this week?
Zero. So I made a conscious decision when I felt I didn't feel well enough to focus on the football to give Jason and all the coaches the full responsibility, because for me, you're either all in or all out, and I couldn't contribute. So I said to Jason right at the start, it's over to you. And didn't he do well? I thought he was absolutely brilliant with Graham and Simon and Stephen and all the coaches and the players. I thought they're absolutely magnificent. I was able to watch all of the games. Of the first two, I wasn't really there mentally, but I was really proud and so lifted by the performance or performances. So yeah, that's of course a very similar experience to the one I had against Brentford in my very first game. Not one that I particularly enjoy, but yeah, big thank you to everybody for what they did.
And how has it worked this week with you coming back? Have you been 100% all in again, leading everything, and will that be the case against Ipswich on Saturday?
Yeah, I came back in and it was normal. So normal service resumed, probably minus running around like an idiot. A lot more reserved physically, and I think I'm going to be that way for a while. But certainly, yeah, back to normal service. I do have to apologise also to anyone that saw me around the Leicester game because I wasn't myself. So if I did see anybody, I was very withdrawn. So yeah, I'd like to think I'm in a much better place now.
Final one, you come back for obviously a big game at both ends of the table, given your position and what Ipswich are likely to face. How do you see the situation now? Because there's been a lot of movement in the Premier League table over the last few days. Yeah,
I see it being very, very tight and possibly going right to the end of the season in terms of the competition for the top 5 places. I think we've put ourselves in a very strong position for what we've done for a consistent period of time now in the Premier League. Our record's been very, very good for a long time. But now we're sort of going to a 5-game league, really, where we're going to have to be consistent again and try and get results in some really tough games. So we're looking forward to the 5 games ahead of us. Starting against Ipswich will not be easy. You look at their recent away form; it's been strong. We can't underestimate them in any way.
Thank you. Keith?
Hi Eddie, great to see you looking
you.
so well. You mentioned there, Teresa, that you went through a real range of emotions. Are you able to expand on that at all for us?
Well, I think, as I said, sort of tried to touch on, you take your health for granted when you're feeling good, and I've been feeling good for a long, long time in my life. So I've had very minimal health issues. So when you suddenly are faced with that, and you're not feeling well for a sustained period of time, I think it's difficult to deal with that, especially when you're in a job that demands you're there and you're present physically and mentally every day. So I thought all managers know the pressures and what that does to you as a person, and I've considered myself really resilient and able to go through most things, but this was something I couldn't carry on through. So that dents you really, and that you feel like you're letting people down. So I had to accept that, and you have to sort of go to a period then we have to really focus on trying small steps to get better, to get back to full health, and that's what I'm trying to do now.
When you got admitted into hospital 2 weeks ago today, did you get a bit of a fright? Was it quite a scary time?
Well, it was in the respect that I felt really bad, but I didn't know how bad. I'm one of those people, probably like most men, that you sort of go through everything. You don't necessarily then offer yourself to doctors and people because you think I'll be okay in a couple of days. I'll fight through it. And I'm sort of very much in the mindset of that. I'll go through anything until you can't. So I was very thankful that the doctor here, Paul Catterson, acted quickly, because without that quick intervention, then possibly it could have had a different outcome. So, and then I was treated really well in hospital, and thankfully now through the worst of it.
And I guess knowing you probably worry about your family as much as anything else. You probably didn't worry about yourself in that situation.
Yeah, well, I have to say, I think that brings a sharper focus to what's important in your life, and then you sort of narrow down all my family and friends that looked after me in this period. Again, it just brings clarity to everything. What the people that really care about you and will be there for you in any moment, and for all of us, I think in life, you can't take those people for granted, and you have to show your thanks and express great gratitude to the people that did look after me, and I'm very grateful to them.
And you mentioned a moment ago watching the first two matches against Man United and Crystal Palace. Was it a strange experience watching on and knowing that you couldn't do anything to impact those games? Yeah,
it was a detachment. When you're watching the games, you're feeling removed from it because you're not in it. Probably see things clearer, I think, when you are removed. So, but those first two games, I was watching and I was involved, but I wasn't feeling well enough to probably enjoy the performances. But a big thank you to the players, because they gave everything in those two games to get two massive wins for us. And as I say, the staff behaved and acted absolutely brilliant. So real tribute to them. And now I'm back. I hope I can add something to the group as we go into the last 5 games. And
as much as Jason will be happy to see you back and to help out, etc., he'll be pleased he's not doing any more of these, I would guess.
No, I think he loved it. I think he loved it. I was almost contemplating letting him do it again, but no, I think he did absolutely brilliantly, and I'm very lucky to have him.
Thank you. Andy?
Morning, Eddie. Fantastic to see you back. We know with you how much you love the routine, how much you love your job. How difficult was it being out of that routine, given everything that was taking place for you, not just from a physical perspective, but from a mental perspective as well?
Yeah, I think routine's key, I think, in your life. I think if you have good routines and they work for you and they help you, then there's nothing better. Those habits form, for me,
I'm trying to refresh real quick. I don't know why it's taking longer than usual. There we go.
lifestyle anyway, but try and live as healthy lifestyle as I can.
After an experience like that, where you do have a health scare like that, do you feel like you're in a different space mentally now to where you were 3 or 4 weeks ago? Not with regards to football, but with regards to life in general.
Yeah, I think you see it through different eyes in that moment. And I think the important thing is not to forget how you saw things in that moment, because I think it just brings everything the basics back in focus of what life is all about. And I'm in a very privileged position. I'm in a fantastic job that I absolutely love, and with people I love working with. And it's trying to make the most of that time in my life, and that's what I plan to do.
You touched upon the messages from fans, etc. I know any time I jumped on social media, saw fans around the city, their first kind of comments weren't, when's Eddie going to be back to work? They were, how's Eddie feeling? How touching was that, the fact that the fans don't look at you necessarily as a manager, but look at you as a representative of this city and someone that they actually care about in terms of health? Yeah,
I think it was really, really nice and uplifting for me to be part of that expression from the supporters towards me. It means everything, because none of us know how long we're going to be on the planet for and how long we're going to be able to enjoy what we're doing. But to do it in an environment where you feel supported and you feel valued certainly makes a massive difference.
Just on the football, obviously there was a defeat to Villa at the weekend. I think Arsene Wenger invented a phrase years ago, bounce back ability. This team seems very, very good with their bounce back ability, at bouncing back from setbacks. Why is that, do you believe?
I think it's down to the characteristics of the players, the leadership of the players. We do, and I've said many times this season, we have an unbelievable group of men that want success and are determined to bring success, and they show that every day. I think if you're inconsistent with that, that's when you get real inconsistencies of results, and I think we suffered that early season. I think we've handled ourselves and dealt with those situations a lot better as the season's gone on, and I'd love to think now we're in a position where we can absorb a defeat, and they will happen, and poor performances will exist, but then we can try and put that right, and I think that's the challenge that we face this weekend.
Just finally, I know you won't want it to be about you, of course, tomorrow, but your return to the touchline naturally will give the stadium a bit of lift. How big a boost do you think that is going to be, not necessarily to the players, but to the general atmosphere at St James's Park tomorrow ahead of the game against Ipswich?
I don't think it can have that much of an effect, because I think the atmosphere, I wasn't there, but from what I felt from watching it, excuse me, in the last two games was incredible. So I'm just delighted to be back. I'm very thankful to the supporters. Hopefully we can create a great environment and enjoy a good performance.
Thanks, Andy. Nisha?
Morning, Eddie.
Morning.
Good to have you back.
Thank you.
You touched on something I think incredibly important there about how often men might push things under the carpet, perhaps leave it a couple of days. Has this changed how you will treat any health problems you have going forward? And I guess the message you would give to friends, family, and just men generally?
I'd like to think so. I can't guarantee it, but I'd like to think I would act differently if feeling that way again. I'd act quicker and try and seek help and support earlier. And I do think it's important, because I think there's a real temptation to go, you can fight through anything, but there's certain things you can't, and seeking medical advice as early as possible certainly gives you the best chance of a quicker recovery.
You said you're very all or nothing, and when it came to the recovery, as you started to feel better, did you start watching a lot of football, a lot of Ipswich games again, or did you switch off and just have that time away?
When I felt well enough, the laptop was out, and I think it was more a case of my mind and my body knew when that was. And the laptop came out, and I was watching Ipswich straight away, because it's just inbuilt in me. So that was a great sign, actually, because it was like, oh, I'm feeling better. I must be feeling better. I'm back into it. So that was a great moment for me.
And just finally for me, some injury updates. How is Fabian Schär and Sven Botman's fitness as well?
Sven's trained well this week, and it's been great to see him back on the grass. So, really, really pleased with how he looked. It's still very early stages for him, but back training with the group, big step. Fabian, we hope will be okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nisha. We'll go to Ian and then to Luke, please.
Good morning, Eddie.
Morning.
I'd like to echo those sentiments as well. Eddie, you've got a reputation as a workaholic, as someone who invariably arrives at work at 6 a.m. Will your work schedule change, or do you hope to get, obviously there's going to be a gradual increase in your workload, but will you get back to those days?
Yeah, I think I will, but only because I think it's what I feel works best for me. early starts, some kind of physical activity, and I'm not there at the moment, but I hope I will be. And yeah, I don't envisage too much changing, but what I do envisage hopefully changing from my perspective is just a little bit more care towards myself, a little bit more thoughts to what I'm doing. As I say, I live a really healthy, I believe a really healthy lifestyle, so there's no issues there. I don't think change anything, but it's more just maybe giving myself a little bit more love if I can.
And what day did you return back? Can you just describe what it was like when the players saw you for the first time following your illness? Was it emotional, or was it very low key?
I was back on Wednesday, and it was low key. I don't think players are necessarily too emotional to see me back. Some maybe were, but no, I feel I've got a really good relationship with the squad, so it was very nice to see their care, and their care for me and my care for them goes hand in hand, because I really care deeply about all my players and I want them to be successful in their careers, and I still try and will continue to work hard for them. And all I ever ask from them is I hope that they recognise that and they give me their best in return.
Thanks, Ian. We'll go to Luke, Craig, and then Jason, please.
You're looking better than I expected.
Thank you very much, Luke.
That's good. You're looking good. Without getting to, can we just take you back to that week? So you started feeling unwell around the Leicester game, but you were planning, I presume, to come back for the Manchester United game. When did things start to deteriorate? When did you realise how seriously ill you were?
Yeah, so the Leicester game I took, and I felt awful. And yeah, I planned to come back into training in preparation for the Manchester United game, and I got out of bed and had a shower, and then I was sort of going through the process of, right, I've got to go. And I couldn't. Something was telling me, no, you need to get back to bed. So that was sort of the moment that things changed.
And what, I don't want to get too morbid, but when you're in hospital, when you were told to go to hospital, what were your emotions like then? You knew you were unwell, but did you realise how seriously unwell you were? And were you worried? Were you scared?
I think I was actually pleased to be told to go to hospital, because I probably subconsciously felt that was probably the right place for me. Although I hadn't quite worked it out myself, I felt that bad that it was probably a bit of a relief to actually then go and get the care that I probably needed in that moment. Yeah, so I think it was strange, really. Going to hospital is not obviously where you want to be, but in that moment it was probably where I needed to be.
What would have happened if you hadn't have gone to hospital? That's the sobering reality of all of these things. If you hadn't have gone to hospital, what would have happened to you?
Yeah, I've got no idea. I can't really answer that. All I say is I think that's where if you're feeling that bad for a period of time, that's where my message to everybody is: don't suffer in silence, go and get help and seek people that can help you. And I think that's really, really an important message.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke. Craig?
Morning, Eddie. Same as everyone else. Lovely to see you again. Following on from Luke, just take us back to that Friday night in the moment you realise you've got to go to hospital. How did you get there? Who persuaded you to go, and how were you feeling at the time, physically, mentally?
Yeah, I got a lift there and just walked in normally. I say walked in normally. I probably crawled in normally. But as I said, I was delighted to be there, because I was like, right, now I'm gonna. This is where I need to be to get better. I just instinctively sort of knew. And that's where then when the staff sort of greet you and take you, you feel a sense of relief. And then it's a case of obviously trying to work out what's wrong and what you need to do to get better. And I think when you get the diagnosis, as frightening as the word is, of pneumonia, I think it's a bit of relief, because you actually know what it is, and then you can hopefully get the right I just wanted to sleep. I did have a fever and quite a high temperature, but you just think it's something that you'll sleep off. And it didn't really change from that, but it was just a real feeling of feeling way off what I normally would be when I'm fit and healthy. And then, of course, later on, other thing with pneumonia, other things come along, and of course, it's affected my chest and my ability to breathe normally, but not to any alarming state.
Just lastly, you mentioned there earlier the intervention of the Dr. Paul Catterson. Without him, it could have been different. Can you sort of expand on that? What did Paul say, and how important was it for someone of that medical professional status to say that to you at that time?
Yeah, well, I'm very lucky, obviously, in the sport that I'm in and the job that I'm in, that you've got very, very good people that you can reach out to. So he came to see me, and it was actually Paul taking some blood tests that highlighted sort of what the problem was and how serious the problem was. So without his care and without him wanting to come and visit me, because it wasn't me going to him, it was him coming to me, that's where I consider myself very fortunate to have that. And that's where I think I'm talking to the general public here who don't have that support, they might need to be the ones to initiate that.
Thanks, Greg. Jason?
Hi. So this was at the club when he examined you and kind of said you need to go to hospital, and it was here at the club?
No, he came to visit me at home.
He came to visit you at home, did he?
Yeah.
And there was, when we were getting updates on you, great to see you back, by the way, sorry.
Thank you.
When we were getting updates on you, it was it was said you were conscious in hospital with your family. Had you lost consciousness at any stage? Or?
No.
You hadn't there. And just on the staff, you mentioned the staff, obviously great work by them. There must have been a Sunderland fan amongst those staff, do you think? Was there any kind of banter going on?
I think there was one snuck in, yeah. I was aware of that, but at that stage I wasn't too bothered.
That's great, thanks.
Thanks, Jason. We'll go to Chris, Scott and then Jordan, please.
Morning, Eddie. Pleased to see you.
Thank you, Chris.
On the mend and back. I mean, you made a big thing about when you came here and your time when you're out of work, that you realised how important your backroom staff were to you. Is this sort of moment really showing that when you haven't actually been able to be in work, the way that you've praised them for stepping up, that decision has proven to have been a wise one?
Well, I think your team are so important. As I've said many times, when I'm around the training ground, there's only one of me. I can't reach out to everybody in every moment, and that includes I can't reach out to all the staff and I can't reach out to all the players. You need any interaction that the players have or any staff member has with your staff to be a positive one, if it can be. And the message needs to be from me consistent through the staff. And I think you can only do that if you have very strong relationships and you have a very strong methodology that they understand and they can express as you would express. So then when you're not there and you're asking the staff to take the team, you're hoping that it's taken in your vein, in your way. Otherwise, the work's totally different. You come back in and everyone's confused. So that's a big, massive thank you to the staff for what they did and how they did step up. And of course, all the players are important in that as well, because without their strong leadership, things can get very difficult very quickly.
I suppose a strange question in some ways, but during that sort of fortnight or whatever, I know that your health was the most important thing, but have you learned anything else in terms of the way that they've worked or stepped up that maybe you will change things going forward? Is that or is it just the processes need to stay the same? They work during my time out and we just get back to how it was before?
Yeah, I think we work in a certain way that's certainly not going to radically change unless it's for the benefit of us going forward. But that will be a collective decision. Certainly now we're back to work, focusing on Ipswich, and that's been the focus of the week.
Thank you. Scott?
Hi Eddie, good to see you. Either you're a good actor or we're terrible journalists, because when we were at Leicester none of us picked up on anything, so that probably says more about us. A football one. We all know what this season's been and how fantastic it's been and everything that's happened. But is there an argument to say that these next 5 games are probably the most important of the whole lot because of what the Champions League could mean in terms of obviously finance, PSR, the ability to attract players, everything really?
Yeah, it's a massive 5 games for us, there's no denying that, and all our focus has been on trying to end the season really, really strongly. We know what position we're in, we know what we've got to try and do. The players are focused. I've seen a really good reaction in training this week. I've seen a good steely focus and determination. No one's been, of course I've only been in from Wednesday onwards, but no one's been distracted. I think we all know the next game's the most important. We don't underestimate any opponent. We know Ipswich will be very well organised. Kieran's done an unbelievable job there. And it's a massive game in our season.
And I know kind of all managers will say that about a team that's down there, but it kind of feels important to ram that home about Ipswich, because there's been a lot of focus on you've still got to go to Arsenal, you've still got to go to Brighton, you've still got to beat Chelsea, but in some respects those games are irrelevant if you can't do the job against Ipswich.
Absolutely. The next game is always the focus, and Ipswich are dangerous. They've got dangerous players in their team. They've got a way of playing that if you're not quite right, you're fined to your cost. They've just gone to Bournemouth very recently and won the game, and we know how difficult that game is. So no, we're under no illusions. Every game in the Premier League is very difficult.
Thank you. Jordan?
Heidi, good to see you. Just another football question. There's been a bit of speculation around Lewis Miley over the last few weeks regarding interest from other clubs. What is the club's stance on Lewis?
Lewis is absolutely pivotal to our future here. From my perspective, he's going absolutely nowhere. We want to build the team with him in it for many, many years. That's my thought process.
And in regards to the last 5 games, will you be checking on that team's results, or will you just be simply focusing on yourselves?
Very simple response to that. It's about us. Of course, we're aware of other teams. We're aware of where we are in the league. But if we don't do our jobs, it's absolutely irrelevant what the other teams do.
Okay, go to Dominic, Aaron, and then to Rebecca, please.
Morning, Eddie. Good to see you back. Back in December, you faced an Ipswich side without Liam Delap in it. Obviously, he'll be back this weekend. How do they differ, and how do their threats change with him leading the line?
Yeah, he's a pivotal player for them. There's no denying that. I think he's had a very good season, and he's got big strengths. Very strong, powerful runner. Certainly knows where the goal is. I think he's had a really good season. He's always had a lot of potential. You could see from the very early times we've played against him previously what a threat he can be. But they have other players as well in and around their team and their squad who can contribute effectively to their attacking game. I think they've had a difficult season in respect. They've done a lot better away from home than they have at home, and that would be a frustration for them. But their away form has actually been very strong. So I think that's another warning sign for us to say that we have to be absolutely right for this game.
Side have been unchanged for the last 7 games. Jason Tyndall suggested perhaps the Villa game was a game too far. Do you echo that sentiment, and naturally would you be maybe looking to make some changes tomorrow?
I think it's very easy in hindsight to make that. I'm certainly not going to critique Jason's decisions. I think he did brilliantly. The team has been unchanged because the team's performed really well. And that was a difficult week, 3 games in 6 days. But there's certainly no fatigue for this game. So I will pick what I think is the strongest team. It gives us the best chance to win the game. With the squad that I have available.
Thank you. Aaron?
Morning, Eddie. Welcome back.
Thank you.
In a similar vein to Chris's question, are times like these sort of testament to the decision to put a sort of a leadership group in place with Kieran and Dan and players like that? And can you just sort of talk to their role behind the scenes along with the coaches?
Yeah, pivotal really. I think the leadership group is a really strong core voice for us. I think they've handled themselves absolutely brilliantly this year, and I think you could see that again from the Carabao Cup win, where 3 people lifting the cup together. For me, that was a really inspiring moment because that showed real collective unity. And to be successful, you need that collective unity. And those players involved in the leadership group this year, I think, have been a strong voice. But they've really helped manage some difficult situations in a really calm and controlled way, and none more so when I'm not there. You hope that everything carries on the same way, and tribute to those players and all the squad and how they handled themselves.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Hi, Eddie. Lovely to see you back. I think in the first Champions League season when Newcastle managed to get there, you managed to get 71 points. Is that a target that you've been looking at this season, or is it just a completely different kind of kettle of fish in terms of the race that's going on in this final stretch of the season?
Yeah, I think we've identified roughly sort of where we need to be, but that's been something that we've done behind the scenes. We haven't necessarily presented that to the players. We've just tried to focus on each and every game and tried to maximise that game. but we think we know roughly where we need to be. But it's very difficult to.
Game too many, one half too many, sorry, for the players. Are you kind of looking forward now to this final stretch? It's like a game a week almost. Is that good for the players and for yourself in terms of preparation?
Yeah. Well, you hope so. I think we've done really well in the run, the really good run that we've had in the second half of the season, where regardless of the fixture list, regardless of when we're playing, we've played really well, and we've put a really strong, consistent run of results together. I think we've done really well with midweek games and runs of games, but now we go to week, so we get a good preparation time. The players go into the games fresh, and hopefully we can execute our best performances.
Okay, thank you everybody. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Good to see you all. Thanks for your support. Appreciate it.
All right, so that was the presser, and had a few. Just the website, I don't know. It just gives up every so often. So apologies for that right there. You shall get the highlights and the edited version on the channel as soon as we are done with this live stream. But please hit the like button. Over 830 some people watching, so appreciate the support. Subscribe to the channel, and for more content, we got daily Newcastle United content on this channel. So. Appreciate everybody. And Eddie Howe, today, man.
We are knackered.
After watching that, boy, God dang, man.
The one thing we've learned, Eddie's learned a new word. Pivotal. Lewis Miley, pivotal. He's going nowhere if I've got my way.
It's pivotal. Look, man.
Rory Delap. For Ipswich, he's pivotal. And the leadership group, pivotal.
It's pivotal. We sack all of the journalists.
Eddie's been reading the dictionary while he's been in hospital. And he was stuck on the letter P.
Man, that was painful, man. That was extremely painful. Even Craig Hope let me down, too, because I thought he was the one that's going to break the ice. But
do any of them realise there's a game tomorrow?
Exactly.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell the folks this, man. If you don't go to the hospital, what happens if you don't go to the hospital when you got pneumonia? You'll die. That's what's gonna happen. So get your ass to the hospital. Fucking hell, man. We don't need it's just. Come on, man.
I know. Can I ask you how you got there? I was given a lift. Superman, he got his cape on and he fucking flew there.
Who was the journalist that attributed bounce back ability to Arsene Wenger?
Bounce back ability?
Because that was famously Gordon Strachan.
Strachan, I'm going to say, wasn't that Strachan's?
Right, it was. And one of the journalists said, I think Arsene Wenger coined the phrase, but it was actually Gordon Strachan.
I don't know. But anyways, that was painful, man. That was painful, but look, and we actually...
I tell you what was interesting when he said at the very start, when he was asked about Jason and the team, the group, and when we've been watching matches, we've been saying, Eddie will be on the phone, Eddie will be on the phone, and he said nothing at all. He made a conscious decision not to interfere at all and leave it up to them.
Well, I mean, I don't think it would have been a bad decision to interfere.
Well, certainly not at the Villa game.
No, I mean, it's his job.
No, but he said he didn't feel well enough, so he just left him to it.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's obviously.
I mean, we are a great example of exactly getting involved when there's no need. I mean, the amount of times we had two audios going, we had two videos overlapping each other, and I think that's exactly what Eddie was thinking. The lads there have got the finger on the pulse; they know exactly what's going on. When you're not involved and you've got an idea and you haven't seen what's happening on the field, who's performing, it can disrupt the momentum a little bit from those that are there.
Cat Cartel, welcome to the channel. It's destroying you, man. It was Ian Downey?
Dowie
that said bounce back ability. This mighty win is clueless.
I beg to differ. I'll give it to Gordon Strachan. Let me have a quick look.
To be fair, I think it's being utilised by a number of people.
I'm pretty sure at this point nobody knows. But well, look, Eddie wasn't asked about the game, so I mean, when there's a reporter that said, "Let me ask a football question," what? That's what we're here to do, man. We're here to listen. But we predicted it, though. We predicted it was going to be 90% about, him, which is fine, which is understandable. But, man, the whole presser about that, fucking hell.
I mean, you can see.
Listen, fair play, according to good old Wikipedia, of course.
Right.
It was Ian Dowie in 2004.
Cat Cartel, you're right.
Either way, the point is, it certainly wasn't Arsene Wenger.
No.
Cat Cartel, you're right. Mighty Win is clueless. I agree with you on that. Any Botman news? Yes, well, he did speak on that actually. He's on grass, so that's a positive. Every week he's on grass though, so we got to do a little update on that. And
according to
at some point.
Yeah, according to what we heard the last time he was on grass training, was he wasn't actually getting involved in a lot of the tactical stuff. He was just in and out with the boys just to get a feel of it. So whether that's changed this week, it'll be interesting to see.
But Fabian Schär, okay.
Fabian Schär is good. Any other football answers or statements that may have only a few?
Oh, jeez.
Well, it was good to hear him say actually that Miley was pivotal, and he
he talked about Miley. Look,
because there's been a lot of speculation about Miley this week.
Right.
So
I agree with him.
If he's that pivotal, get him on the pitch.
Well, exactly.
For a few more minutes.
Actions speak louder than words. Yeah. And, it's...
He said the Ipswich away form was very good, but as we pointed out last night, the second worst away record in the league. Albeit that they've drawn lots of games. They've only lost 8.
I agree with the McKenzie family. It'll be interesting to see who he starts, either Gordon or Barnes. That's an interesting one.
Well, we discussed that as well last night, of course, and I think it would be extremely unfair.
It'll be detrimental to Barnes, I'll tell you, if he gets dropped.
Barnes.
Oh, I know that, but he didn't care about Dubravka, so actions speak louder than words, and he
is saying Tonali is the pivot.
Yeah,
single
pivotal.
pivot.
Exactly. Champions League, please, says Victor M. Welcome, mate. Welcome, Lewis, as well, who wanted some football questions but didn't get none, or got a few. Who starts for Ipswich, Gordon, Murphy, or Barnes? Well, Murphy, he's going to start. Murphy doesn't have a competition whatsoever on the right. So, he's
and listen, he had a poor game on Saturday along with everybody else. So he deserves to. You just look at his performances this season.
And going on what you've just said there, you've also got to take into consideration when there was substitutions, it wasn't Barnes that got substituted. He was asked to go and play on the right-hand side. So I think that speaks volumes for what the lad's done since his inclusion in the squad.
Yeah. No, I don't have any complaints about Harvey Barnes.
But you never know. You never know. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. And, Fabian Schär, Byrne, going to be starting. So Botman is really in no rush to come back at this point, I don't think. And I think it's just going to be the same 11.
Two contradicting views here. One, DX is saying Barnes must start. It would be injustice to drop the player. Dubs was different as he had a couple of errors.
It makes no sense.
But Trulls is saying Gordon should get a game from the start to see where he is. nothing against Barnes, but you have to rotate, as people have said so many times before. Well, there's that as well, I suppose.
Well, the contradiction statements come from DX alone. He contradicted himself. Dubs made no errors at all. Show me the errors. Name the errors that Dubravka made against Man City, because that's the game that everybody wants to, for some reason, find him culpable of that game. I have no clue why. Why? Because they scored 4 goals. That's like 1920s analysis right there. They score a lot of goals, so we blame the goalkeeper. Why did they score? And what errors did he make? And second of all, equals an excuse to drop him. That makes it sound like we just find an excuse, whatever it is, to drop him. It makes it, even if that happened, it doesn't make it right. To just find an excuse.
Yeah, after the performance against the Villa, then if you're working on goals against, then Pope should be dropped.
Exactly.
Even though I don't think he was at fault for any of them.
And we we can't run a team like that.
I did actually say it against Fulham, not Bournemouth. And then
Fulham
he was
what?
saying, I don't know, but he wasn't dropped after Fulham, was he?
No, he was dropped after he was dropped as soon as his ink dried on his contract, and that's when he was dropped. And so, if that happened, I'm not going. I mean, I wouldn't put Gordon being the starter on the weekend, past him. One thing happened. Now it shouldn't, but other things have happened before, and Gordon should get a game from the start. Look, I have, and I might contradict myself, but I think that when a starter goes down, I don't think he should usually lose his spot. Now, I think that circumstances on how Gordon lost his spot or went down have a lot to do with it. It was a suspension that took him off the team, and then he got a little hurt in England, but it was a suspension. It was an action that he made. It was, that got him off the team. It's not an injury for the team or playing for the team or whatever. So I think that has to do with it. And obviously Barnes is playing, unbelievably. So that has a lot to do with it. But I remember when Trippier went down one time, a few times actually, but this season. But and I thought maybe he needs to come back and start. And Livramento started playing decent, and Livramento never came off the team on the right side until Lewis Hall was hurt and all that. So I think main start like Tonali, for example, he goes down a few weeks, he's gonna have to start. Certain players have to come back and start, but you have to question it when their replacement have done an unbelievable job, like Harvey Barnes, which by the way I've been back in all season, battling you guys, some of you, and so it depends. But actually, they can play. You can play with both of them. It's just about Eddie being open-minded. Is he open-minded to change a few things here and there in order to have the best players on the pitch? I don't think so.
I think it's so easy to pinpoint games where players have been good, been successful. I think it's the inclusion when you look at individuals. One player don't win or lose a game. And I think we've got to stop looking at these team that we've got at the minute as a squad and say, if he's not in the team, and we went on the Longstaff debate, and we had a look at all the stats that, when Longstaff was playing in midfield, we went on a run. It's not Longstaff that creates those runs of games. It's the way the team present themselves on the field of play during the 90 plus minutes that they're all together. Mm-hmm. And certain individuals will create opportunities, but at the end of the day, it's whether we get it in the onion sack. And we've had many a game this season where we've really struggled to score in front of goals. And it doesn't matter how dominant you are as a side, you're still going to end up potentially losing the game because you just can't score goals. So for me, it's a case of when the lad, and again, who was to blame for the 4-0 drubbing against Aston Villa? Was it a tactical fault? It wasn't an individual fault. I just think they were tactically better on the day than we were.
They were better, and obviously our changes didn't help, but I think they were better overall. The problem now with Gordon and Barnes, I think both players, but I think now more from what I'm seeing this whole season. More Gordon than Barnes. Both players run of emotion, I guess you can say. If you drop either one, they're. I'm not saying they're not going to be up for it, but they're going to feel it. Emotionally, it's going to be tough for them. They're going to feel at fault. They're going to feel targeted. Maybe I think more Gordon than Barnes. I think Gordon. You look at him. He hasn't been started. He hasn't started for us in a while, and his attitude. In his attitude, But my point is, he hasn't been started, and when he comes on, his attitude. You can tell he's bothered. You can tell he's not the same. You know what I'm saying? And that is the situation. That is the point. Both players, when they don't get the opportunity, I'm not saying they throw their toys out the pram, as you guys call it, but they do.
They are mental players. That's what I said.
More Gordon than Barnes, by the way.
Yeah. They are very emotional.
You can tell they are bothered. I mean, they don't run. Gordon in the last few games, he doesn't run as hard. He doesn't. They're not bothered. And that is the problem.
I said from the start, I mean, apart from Gordon's stats, which, are very good compared to others, I mean, he hasn't looked the same this season. He hasn't looked like the same Gordon as we had last season.
Well, of course not.
And he, whether that's him being disillusioned about potentially going to Liverpool, being dropped from the international squad, not getting minutes there, whatever it is, it's affected his performances at Newcastle. His stats are good. I'm not saying they're not bad.
This is the thing. People are comparing his performances this season with last season. And there's no doubt about it. I mean, he was Player of the Year last season, and he hasn't been as good as that this season. So he hasn't been 8s and 9s out of 10s every game. But he's still been 7s out of 10s.
Yeah, he's still been important to the squad, and that's what I'm saying.
If you look at his progressive carries, they're better than anybody else.
No, progressive carries, man. He's
a good one for you then. So we've got both Harvey Barnes, who we both, you guys are saying that he's the best thing since sliced bread, and then we've got Anthony Gordon, who again a good contributor to the team, and yet Murphy, who hardly gets a mention apart from being really poor, is only 3 goals and assists away from the two of them combined.
Murphy has a better season than Gordon. More important season than Gordon has for Newcastle United this season. You can't argue that. It's crazy to say, but he has.
Yeah. But his overall performance haven't been there, Chris. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When you're looking at the contributory to the team, defensive, and that's what I said. You've got a player who wears 2 heads. Is the old-fashioned Wurzel Gummidge to me.
And by the way, we thought Gordon was crucial to the team. I criticized, obviously at the time I thought he was going to be crucial, and I criticized the way he was suspended because that was stupid. Other than Mighty Wayne, you thought he was just defending himself. It was self-defense when it wasn't. It was an aggression. But it turned out he wasn't. It turned out he wasn't as important because Harvey Barnes came on and he handled business. So I don't know. It's a difficult one, but I think that. By the way, Wynn is getting a petition signed for a numpty one for the stadium to get built. He got how many? You got 11 signatures now. Keep growing it.
Hey, we're in double figures, mate.
But he also had a petition like that to get Gordon paid player for Newcastle United. He accomplished that. He got him. He gave him all the money in the world, and all of a sudden, it seems like Gordon is not performing. So, that's what happens, man, because you don't know. It's not proven that Gordon was going to be the best left wing that Newcastle could ever possibly get. He was good for a season, and then this season, we don't know. It's up in the air. And attitude has a lot to do with it, to be honest. And if he doesn't realize that he has to have his attitude right, actually, attitude is everything, man. Everything in football, especially with this manager. Eddie Howe, is a guy that is not too much keen of keeping up with the wrong attitude. I think he does have a soft spot for Gordon, though, because he puts Gordon everywhere else. He'll put him as a goalkeeper before he subs him out. So, I guess that's a positive going for Gordon. But eventually that luck is gonna run out. Ask Longstaff, because he was defending Longstaff over Tonali. I mean, against the world, until he had to give that up. So look, Gordon has to get his head screwed on right and show up for it.
But I think that is going to be the ultimate question on Eddie Howe's survival. If I'm honest with you, if he's going to become this manager of on the elite scale, he's got to become harsher. And I think sometimes I think he comes across as being too nice towards players. And I think when you've got a squad all squibbling over the same position, you've got a squad of 20, maybe 22, 3. All good players. At the minute, it's easy for him, and you've probably heard the starting lineup just from what he said. None of them are fatigued, so I'll pick out what I think is going to be our best squad for the game against Ipswich. Well, we all know what that team is, because it's been the team that's been performing all season long. So I think that speaks volumes. The difference with Eddie Howe will come when he's got a squad of 20, and he has to then pick a side of players knocking at the door. Too easy at the minute.
Yeah. All I would say is, if you want to know how good each player is, how much would you get for Barnes on the open market? How much would you get for Gordon?
No, it isn't. That ain't got nothing to do with it, man. Get out of here. That ain't got nothing to do. I mean, it's like
when people are spending money, then they want to know what they're getting.
You cannot
tell
judge.
You what, you get more for Gordon than you will for Harvey Barnes.
Southampton will get more for Dibbling then. If
exactly
on that.
Exactly. Look at Dibbling and Mbuemo.
Yeah, exactly. There's a price on anybody's head.
Who's going to pay 100 million for Dibbling or whatever?
Well, it's whatever the club put on you. It's sanctioned, isn't it? You know what I mean?
The market, you can't go off.
Who's going to pay 150 million for Isak?
Exactly.
Well, hopefully nobody.
Well, what I'm saying is that there's very few.
Nobody will. Very few clubs will be able to do that. Even 100.
Well, they'll pay more for Isak than they would for Gordon.
Well, 100%. You better believe that.
And they pay more for Gordon than they would for Barnes. 100%.
That's cool, but that doesn't determine who was a better player or more important to the team. Nobody will pay a dime for Murphy, but he has been good for.
I think they might get someone from Murphy now.
I think what Chris said before, though, when we're talking about Harvey Barnes and Gordon, and I think this is probably not, and I'm not saying this would determine either way, but which one of them has impacted the side more coming off the bench? So we're talking of a squad now, not individually. What player has impacted the side more as a bench player coming on in the 70th minute? Harvey Barnes or Gordon? Yeah, exactly. So is that something that triggers the mindset? Because at the end of the day, when you're looking at the jigsaw of a team, you still need legs coming on in the 65th to 75 minutes mark. That's going to continue that, that raid up the park and get chances and create chances and score goals. Now, at this present moment in time, Harvey Barnes single-handedly is the one that comes off the bench and does that. Gordon hasn't. So is that something that triggers the mindset on who picks, on the 11 to start? Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. Or Eddie could look at it as in the attitude situation and say, why do I have to switch and put Gordon in because he doesn't have the right attitude to come off the bench the right way? Why do I have to cater to him when he should have the right attitude? He's a footballer. He gets paid well for it. Mighty Wayne got the signatures right, so he's got highest paid player. So why doesn't he have the right attitude? Why doesn't he have the right attitude to come on whenever I choose him to? Because that's the way it needs to be, So it can be a lot of things. We'll see what happens, and I think that we can. I think it can go either way, to be fair. But Harvey Barnes.
I'd be amazed if Harvey Barnes doesn't start on Saturday.
It'll be. Well, listen. Let me remind you guys that we've said this multiple times this year already. If Tonali doesn't start, if we've said this multiple times this season. If Dubravka doesn't start, we've said it multiple times, and things have happened to where they don't. So we can't be amazed already. If it was the other way, I'd tell you there's no way. But we don't know. We'll never know, man, until the weekend comes. Lewis says Barnes has had loads more chances off the bench than Gordon. Exactly. So, but that's what he had to do. You can say that Barnes has taken advantage of his opportunities, whatever he's had. In the time that when he was called to start, he did an amazing job. So why should he lose his spot? You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah, but it's like I said though. Without those contributions off the bench, he could have been a player like a lot of the others. Just sit on the bench and don't even get a minute. There's a lot of players in there that don't get a chance. So it's like I said, when you've got the luxury of these players, and like I said, as the squad goes now, and as we go on the season and through windows, there's going to be more players of quality coming into this side. And I think that will show us the type of manager.
And it's going to be also important what happens with Miley Osula, because, are they going to give minutes? That's going to be interesting to see. But anyways, any other last thoughts, lads?
No, that's
the only shout out I was going to do was Paul Cattrall, the doctor at Newcastle, who was the one who got the bloods from our Eddie and diagnosed him going to hospital. So that was an interesting one.
It's interesting that they've actually got blood analysis facilities.
Yeah, well, obviously they've got to have something like that because of all the dope testing.
Yeah. By the way, I just happened to remember this, and it's been a while. I should have done this a long time ago. But special thanks to some of the other channels that have congratulated me on the Carabao Cup final. I should have done this after, but I forgot. And now I just happened to remember. Stelio, Spurs fan, he texted me just a few a while back, and he's like, "Congrats on the cup, mate." And also Liverpool fan Callum had texted me, "Congrats on the cup. You guys deserved it." So a lot. Here we go. Here's where the hell is it, man? I had a few here, but I had to go scroll back all the way. How long? A month ago, and to get these. But anyway, thank you to everybody that's texting me about it. Graceful fans out there, still left out there in the world. Congratulating. But that's gonna be. I told you that's only gonna happen the first cup, the first trophy. After that, they're gonna want to keep us down. It's gonna go out of style. The poor Newcastle won a trophy, and then once we start winning, we're gonna be like Man City. They're gonna hate us. But anyways, appreciate everybody for the text messages. And shall we win more? Maybe second this season. That would be kind of a trophy, for me at least.
Well, second, fifth doesn't make any difference as long as you're in the Champions League.
Oh my God! Here we go.
Few million difference prize money.
And I'm sure don't you get more money for being second place in the Premier League?
I'm saying a few million more for being second.
Okay, then. So it makes a difference. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching us. I appreciate your support. Don't have a quiz night tonight, but we will be back tomorrow for match day against Ipswich Town. It'll be at St. James's Park, so it'll probably me and Gary, and we'll do an instant reaction. We'll do the player scores and all of that. Kickoff 1 hour before match kickoff. We will start with the build-up and all of that. So please come and join us. Thank you so much for your support, and we will see you all on the next one. Away the lads.
Away the lads.
Lassies and bears.